just think I need to hit go live.
Still not on your page.
Yeah, it's about to be. It's about to be here.
We're about to be live.
We're about to be
Okay, then.
live. Facebook is slowly connecting the live
Letting
video.
you on.
Oh, what
It's
is
slowly
happening?
letting you
We are
on the runway.
live right now with Joseph S. Kahn. Yes, we are. Let me make sure that this is doing the actual stream. Yes, we're good. We're live. Super excited to have you here, Joseph. Thank you so much. Sorry for the delay,
Hey.
everyone. Joseph is a marketer, technician, musician, business developer, programmer. I mean, honestly, from all the conversations that I've been having with Joseph, there isn't a lot that he can't do. And I'm just super stoked to have you here today. And I would love to open it up for you to just kind of share about
Yeah,
your
sure.
journey and how you ended up doing what you're doing now and the path that you've been on and just the whole gambit.
The whole craziness of it
The
all.
whole craziness of it all. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, hopefully, anybody listening to this is an inspirational story, also. And it starts with a little kid who was kind of weird and quirky, and who kind of didn't, who was always chastised for. I was always chastised for being that clown, or the kid that's always making kids laugh, or I was always getting in trouble. The doesn't work well with others, but that's the funny thing is if you ever see your kid, say you're older or you're younger, and you get a doesn't work well with others, that means you make people laugh. That's what that means. Meaning you make other people not do their work. That's what that means. Okay. It doesn't mean that you don't work well with others. It just means you work too well with others in any case. So because of that, I had this weird quirkiness. Later did I find out, they didn't know diagnosis back then, but later did I find out that I had something called Asperger's, which gave me this weird capability of being able to recognize patterns, and kind of, as I'll go through a little bit, I ended up a drummer and ended up in different things because of the patterns. But it made me very socially awkward, and that's why kids laughed, because I would do stupid stuff. I would fall on myself. I would self-deprecate. I would, punch myself in the face. That little quirky kid that is like really quirky and weird. That was me. And but super smart, that nobody could like figure out their brain, because they're always saying stuff that's like, what did he just say? Like what? That was me. And so I was in gifted programs and stuff like that. But here's the weird thing: my sister, who is now a PhD, um, she's older. She's 2 years older. She always would call me dumb or stupid or that kind of thing, because I was always punching myself and falling and making people laugh and stuff like that. And she wanted to be a teacher, and so, she had this. She called me dumb, and people called drummers back in the day dumbers. And so I kind of had this idea that I wasn't very smart, because I was always self-deprecating and always doing these things. So I didn't take schoolwork seriously. I was always in trouble socially. So I just, whatever. So, and because my sister did this, I never took it seriously until I still got put in these gifted programs because of this testing. Like when they test me, they go, "Oh, wait, this guy's very smart. How is he in this remedial class?" And it's like, because I don't want to be here, kind of thing. And so they would kind of push me up and move me around. And I kid you not, my senior year in high school, 5 periods were banned. I was literally the band director of my high school my senior year in high school, because I took 2 AP classes my junior year so that I could get in college later, so that I could do this. I had to take the English or whatever, but I did 5 periods of band. And I got a scholarship at Georgia State University because I was also the McDonald's All-Star drummer. I was the auditioned for the McDonald's All-Star Drum Program. So I recorded Mac the Knife, and I could eat McDonald's when I was in high school. Like it was just crazy,
That's
my
awesome.
my my life was just crazy, because of this. So I was in the McDonald's All-Star Jazz Band. I got a scholarship to Georgia State University for music. Went to Georgia State with my sister. Drove her there to school because that's where she went to get her teaching program. And she challenged me to an IQ test. The mentor program was doing this thing. And she challenged me to this because she's like, this would be funny or fun. And my sister was always socially awkward. And she's like, come with me to do it. Meaning she didn't want to do it by herself. So I went with her, took this test, and literally I scored higher than her. And keep in mind, my entire life, my sister was the teacher. I'm the dumber, and I literally scored higher than her. And I scored 138, and I believe that's genius level. And she scored lower than that, and it was amazing. And here's what's interesting. So I wrote a book called Massive Dose of Motivation, and in that book describes what happened, because what happened after this Mensa test, after I discovered that I actually had an IQ and I was smart, all of my grades from Georgia State forward, from that point forward at Georgia State, became 4.0s. I never made less than a 4.0 after that. After that. And it was like nothing changed me except for the knowledge that I was smart. And it was unacceptable to an Asperger's to be making anything less than 4.0 if there was knowledge that you had the knowledge. You know what I mean? Like, that's just unacceptable. So, and here's the funny ticker to the story. My sister was valedictorian at Georgia State. She's now a PhD doctor who teaches at Georgia State. She made 1B in her entire college career, 1B, and that was in economics. Okay, it was 1B. So after this, I had to not only take that course at Georgia State, I had to take the teacher that she had, and I made 112 at the end of that class. That's what I scored in the class, was 112. Now, this was the only class that she made a B in.
Wow.
Now, the only reason why I'm a zealot, okay? And it was like, so you say, how did you get 112? Because this class was so hard, he always provided extra credit, and he always did a curve. And what was funny is just the knowledge that I was smart. That's the thing. That's the key. It was just this little knowledge of this test told me I was smart. I just had this little teeny key. And now all of a sudden, I got all the extra credit. I got perfect scores. The teacher said, hey, class, we're going to have to exclude Joey from the curve. Because if we took Joey's score, all y'all would be failing right now. Meaning, and everybody in the class, that teacher that gave her a B wanted to hire me as an accountant for his firm at the end of the class. And I'm like, there's no way I'm becoming an accountant, dude.
Wow.
But see, that's the deal. Yeah. So it's not that I have anything special about, dude, you can do anything. It's that I believe that I can do anything. That's the key. So when somebody said, Joey, you can't be here's the thing about being a CIO. And so fast forward. So I left Georgia State, and now I'm working in a warehouse. And I started as the packer and shipper. I'm like 23, 24, and I'm like shipping and doing UPS packing and shipping as a $6.50 an hour back in that day. This was in 1994, 93, 94. And I was working hard, and literally over a 3-year period with this same mentality, went from the lowest guy, to assistant warehouse manager, to warehouse manager, to operation manager, and literally in position to be the general manager of this company. Wow. And only because I believed I could. Now, here's the funny thing. So I go from $6.50 an hour, and I'm now making about $70K a year as the purchasing manager for this warehouse. Okay. And I'm still drumming. Mm-hmm. So one of my friends said, hey, come play this concert at Stone Mountain Park. It's called the Edge Fest. And back in the day, it was Jim and Tammy Baker. It was this big Christian Edge Fest. Come play this Edge Fest with my band. So I'm like, okay. So I go play this concert, okay, and actually open for Petra. That was a big name back in the day. And go play this concert. And one of my friends from back in the day comes to me and says, hey, I'm a Microsoft consultant. Do you know anything about that? And I said, no, what is that? And he goes, well, this big thing happening right now. This was in 94. Wow. And I'm like, what do you mean this big thing? He's like, yeah, everybody's making money on the internet, and this is all this kind of stuff. And he goes, and I just got my MCSE, He goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm the purchasing manager for this warehouse. He goes, would you like to be doing anything else? I'm like, yeah. So I instantly went and interviewed for this company, and I became the web developer. Like, they called me Spidey. I was one of the original web developers.
Wow. For
Back
Microsoft.
for Microsoft in Atlanta.
Okay.
And literally, so here's what happened. So I leave Castor Warehouse, okay? I go my very first day. I'm wearing a collared shirt like this. They said, just wear a collared shirt. You got a lot of onboarding. You got a lot of training. You got a lot of stuff to do. So I literally go to work, and instantly when I walk in the door, they go, hey, turn around, go back home, put on a suit.
Okay.
This was in 96. I said, what? They go, yeah, you got to go to Cox Communications. I'm like, you just hired me. They're like, yeah, we don't care. You're the only web guy we know, and you got to go because we got a web job for you.
Wow.
And they sent me to Cox Communications, and I won the 1999 Microsoft Project of the Year in 1999 for that.
Yeah, and what was that project that you were working on that won you that award?
Believe it or not, that project looks exactly identical, has the same features as Facebook.
Wow.
In 1999, and it won the Microsoft Project of the Year, and it was called InfoNet. It was a Cox Communications application. They never launched it publicly. Facebook came out and launched theirs. They never launched it publicly. But they paid Microsoft $400 an hour for me to do that project back in 1996 through 99, and then it won the Project of the Year.
That's incredible. And so
now here's a drummer, warehouse worker guy who literally went to a rock concert, and the guy said, hey, come work for Microsoft. And I'm literally going the very first day, and he says, and this is what I did. You told me about an HTML. You went and got the HTML5 book. Mm-hmm. That day that they made me turn around, go put a suit on, and go back to Cox Communications, scared out my mind because I knew nothing. Okay. I'm a drummer. Right. Okay. And said, well, you need to do some web pages and build some web pages. So I literally went to Borders Bookstore and bought HTML 1.0 book, and it was this thick.
Yeah, that's incredible.
It was like this thick, and I bought this book, and I didn't even have the money. Like, I was like, kind of like I had 2 kids and was trying to struggle here. And I'm like, look, at least Borders had a 30-day return policy. So I'm going to return it, and get the next book, And back in the day, you could do that. My whole Microsoft certified, I would get the book, study, pass it, and then turn it back in, get the next one, and I would basically every 30 days, I had 30 days to pass the test, is what I would do.
Wow.
Back in that day. But I literally went back to Cox, and as I said prior to this call, would be faking it till you make it. That's what the phrase was back then. Fake it till you make it, which means I talked NDI, HTML, la, all day long. And then as soon as the lights went off, I got out that big fat book and went, how do I do all this shit I've been talking about?
Right. But it's all because you believed
and
that you were able to do it.
It's all because I believed. Yeah, all because I believed. Now, here's another funny story, because I know this is Tribe of Fun. Here's another funny story that nobody will ever hear. And thank God that InfoNet never made it to Facebook level, because I put an Easter egg in it. This is how Aspergery I was. So I built this application that now the entire Cox Communication is using. It became their intranet app, where they had their pictures of their faces and the pictures of their teams, and they could kind of get people to join and talk groups and stuff. This is what InfoNet was in 99, way before Facebook, okay? Wow. And this is what they were using. It became a big hit, and everybody was excited about it, but I put an Easter egg in it. You know what an Easter egg is, right?
Yeah. What was the
I put an Easter egg in it.
I want to know.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, but my wife didn't like it. Now, here's the funny thing, and this is the funny story, because back in the day, so there's Easter eggs, and Microsoft programmers put Easter eggs. Like, you could unlock them. Like, you remember how they'd unlock Easter eggs in Office and stuff like that? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, so I'm going to put an Easter egg in here, but this is what I didn't know. So I put an Easter egg in here because I felt like nobody would believe that I was the programmer. I felt like I'd say, hey, I programmed this, and they go, no, you didn't. And I'd go, yeah, I did, and I would do this secret thing, and this thing would pop up, right? So I had that in this application. Okay, I had an Easter egg on a pixel. There was a little teeny pixel that I only knew where it was, and I could click on that pixel, and then it would open up this thing, because back in the day, was a no fat chicks thing. Now, that's not acceptable in today's day and age. There was this whole series of T-shirts that had it was something Jim Belushi had out there in the day. I know that's not acceptable. I love fat chicks, skinny chicks, all chicks. That's why my spouse didn't like it. But that was my Easter egg, because I'm like, you're not going to believe it unless you see it.
Right.
Now, here's the funny thing. Okay. So my manager, he calls me into his office. He goes, "You won't believe what happened." I'm like, "What happened?" He goes, "We have a virus. That application, we're submitting this application to Microsoft to be awarded an award, and we have a virus." And I'm like, "Oh, what kind of virus?" He's like, "I think it's called the No Fat Chicks virus."
Somebody had found it. And was like, oh my God.
Well, yeah, no, because before you submit your application to Microsoft, you do a code review first. Mm-hmm. You don't want your code in shitty shape before Microsoft looks at it.
Sure.
So manager goes to take a look at my code, right? And he does a code review on my code, my manager, and he finds the No Fat Chicks Easter egg.
Nice.
And says, "Oh shit, we've been infected by the No Fat Chicks virus." I'm like, "That's a thing? I didn't know." How am I supposed to know?
So funny.
Duh. So I'm like, "Okay, cool. Let me go check." And I instantly went back and deleted it. I'm like, "Ah!"
Right.
And instantly went through my code and instantly got rid of everything. I'm like, "Oh God, that would have killed me. Imagine if that would have went public."
Right. Yeah.
That would have been horrible.
But,
except for right now, obvious. But it's hilarious right now.
It is hilarious.
It's hilarious right now, and yeah, it was totally, it was totally unacceptable. But the thing is that's why it was an Easter egg.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Anyways, but the hey Joey, you gotta fix this No Fat Chicks virus. I was like, oh crap, he found it, and I am in trouble. I thought I was in trouble.
So for for everyone on here that's watching, we're on here with Joseph S. Kahn. He's an incredible business owner, entrepreneur, marketer, coach. I feel like there are 1,000 things. Author as well. So many different. He's just an incredible guy. And if you want to connect with him, you can connect with him on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. Pretty much anywhere on the internet, it's all under Joseph.
There's candy for everybody.
It's under Joseph.
There's drumming, there's pictures, there's art, there's everything.
He's got it all. So he's super amazing. If you want to connect with him, it's Joseph S. Kahn. That's Kahn.
H-N.
And so definitely go ahead and do that. And so I want to progress even more forward into the future here. So
yeah.
After this 1999 Microsoft award, then what happened? Where did you progress to? And then eventually, what are you doing today?
Yeah, so after that, I joined John Maxwell's team. Most people now know John Maxwell. Mm-hmm. I joined his team in the year 2000, and I continued kind of my Microsoft.
Could you give
Go ahead.
A brief just synopsis of who John Maxwell is in case people don't know?
Yeah. John Maxwell is the leadership. If you ever look him up or you type in 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, that's what put him on the map, was that particular book. And I was around for that particular book back in the year 2000. And some of the books that people use terms and phrases by John, not realizing that they're kind of coined early on back prior to the Stephen Covey days, which is failing forward. I've heard people use that phrase before. Yeah. He wrote the original Failing Forward book, John Maxwell did. So if you look up Failing Forward, the original Failing Forward book is John Maxwell in like 1984, something like that. It's old, Right, yeah. So here's a guru that I'm, again, a big award winner, top of my game technologically, and this is what I was going to say. So one of my friends at Microsoft I said, "Where's the next step?" And he goes, "Well, being a CIO." And he goes, but you don't become a CIO until you're like 55 or, whatever. And I go, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, until you're like 55. I'm like, watch me. And so I spoke at this Microsoft, the launch of Windows 2000. I was a keynote speaker in Atlanta. Wow. And so one of John Maxwell's guys were there and said, hey, we want to hire them to work on and I wrote the Commerce Server 2000 book for Microsoft as well. And we implemented, John Maxwell had the first store to sell his products before even Amazon existed. And so he hired me to do that and said, and I love John Maxwell. He goes, we were sitting in the room and they tried to hire me like several times. And I said, no. Cause I was in Microsoft magazines. I was in Windows Enterprise. I was like a big Microsoft guy. So I kept denying John Maxwell. And John Maxwell says, I don't want to program. I want the programmer. That's what he said.
Wow.
And I said, well, if you want the programmer is expensive. And he goes, name your price. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, what can I get? I'm like, all right, $200K. And he's like, done. And so he just wrote me a $200K salary and just like done. And I'm like, what else do you want? I'm like, I want a car. I want trips in the plane. He's like, all right, whatever, He's like, come. This was in the year 2000.
Right.
So I came on as his CIO and I called my Microsoft guy and I said, so how old are you supposed to be when you become a CIO? I am now the CIO for John Maxwell. Now I'm 30 years old.
Nice.
And in 2000, I showed him, and in 2003 and 2004 was nominated for the CIO of the Year in Georgia.
Okay, wow.
Now here I am, and this is funny. I'm standing on stage with the CIO with Home Depot, the CIO with Delta, the CIO with the Weather Channel. I'm standing on stage taking pictures with these CIOs, and I am 20 years younger than they are. On stage with them.
Yeah.
And I'm going, oh shit, like I'm a little bit different than everybody else.
Yeah.
I am not like the normal person. And I'm not, because I found out there's these different things. Like I went to PASIC a couple of years ago. I didn't get the backstage pass, but I go backstage anyways. And that's weird. People are like, well, you go backstage without the backstage pass. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess, like that just never crossed my mind. Why are you different than everybody else? You know what I mean? Like, it's just this weird kind of, they go, well, that's just the Asperger thing. Like, that's the weird stuff you got going on. You know what I mean? Like, and they go, hey, you need it. This is so funny. I went backstage with these really big the drummer for Michael Jackson stuff. Didn't have a pass. One of these guys said, hey, you didn't have a pass? The Michael Jackson drummer grabbed me, took a picture with me and this other guy, and I didn't even have a pass on.
Wow.
I'm like, why are y'all treating me like this? They're treating me like that because I act like a clown.
Interesting.
You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean? What does that mean? Like, you act like a clown? Is that the key? Is that the key to get?
Don't laugh. Don't care.
Okay, nice.
It is. You don't care whether you get in or you don't. If they kick you out, okay.
Yeah.
Meaning it's the energy. The energy is and it's like closing the gap. And closing the gap is if there's something you want and here you are. Closing the gap is only in energy, not in all the things that's required. It's you got to close the gap in the energy, not necessarily in the skills or the things. And so the energy gap is, look, I'm standing here. I want to get backstage to meet this drummer, but you got to have a VIP pass to do that, right? So there's a gap, right? So the only thing I need is, how are those people acting with passes? They're acting like they're happy, they're awesome, they're crazy, they have smiles on their face, they're enjoying the heck out of what's going on, right? So that's all I have to be. I just have to match that energy level when I get to the guy who's checking for passes.
Wow.
And in fact, I don't even have to let him check my pass. While people are in line, I just go right past the line and go right on in.
Because that's just.
And nobody says shit.
Yeah.
That's the energy, and nobody says shit. Nobody stops me. Nobody says anything. Why? Because they think I know what I'm doing. They think I'm meant to be there. And if I acted like I didn't mean to be there, then they would stop me and question me or whatever. But I get in the energy of where I'm supposed to be, and I just go for it. You know what I mean? Right. And it generally works out.
Yeah. And then that's
so
it sounds like that's been the key throughout your whole life. It's like, yeah, I can do it.
Going for it. I can do it. Yeah, just going for it, doing it, because the fake it till you make it. You got one of my coach, Mike Littman. I don't know if anybody ever heard of Mike Littman before. Was you don't have to get it right, you just have to get it going. And these kind of things. Whereas, the energy in which you create is what you get delivered back. Meaning if all of a sudden you're desperate, that's what you're going to get back. You know what I mean? If you're confident, that's what you're going to get back. If you're like, oh, there's a gap here, you're going to feel the gap. If you're like, there's no gap here, you're not going to feel the gap. Do you know what I mean? Like it's kind of this. I guess it's a mental construct, because I think Think and Grow Rich and stuff like that. But it is kind of, in my case, what makes me do stuff is this idea that I'm not going to get in trouble.
Right.
And meaning I am my own troublemaker. And so why am I not going to get in trouble? Because I let myself off the hook.
Gotcha.
So if I try to go backstage without a backstage pass and that guy grabs me and throws me to the ground, who am I going to blame? Myself. And I'm not going to blame myself for not having the pass, although I'll think maybe that's easier, try next time. I'll blame myself for not having the right energy.
Okay, interesting. And then, so I know this kind of
listen, and the reason why, and I don't want to say this online because I told some other people, I mean, I've had officials and people of crazy, do stuff that's not legal and stuff around me, only because of this principle. Meaning I've had security guards who told me, hey, you're not supposed to be here, literally smoke a joint with me at the same time and go, oh, okay, we're cool, and then let me go. Like, what? How's that happen?
How does it happen? It's just,
I don't know. There's magic. And the magic is all in the energy.
Yeah. I love that.
It's all in the energy of how do you want to be, and so you're in the presence of a cop who's now going to bear down on you, but he's not going to bear down on you if you're just full of love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not going to bear down on you at all. In fact, I've had, the drummer, I don't know if you've seen any of the Pzzyfoot stuff. I've been in some really crazy scenarios with Pzzyfoot because of the punk black movement in Atlanta. And I've had a guy come up to me and want to stab me. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to stab you or whatever. And he pulls a knife on me. Now, the guy at Punk Black, kicked that guy out of the thing once this altercation. But I'm standing here because I'm like one of the only Caucasians in the entire event, But I'm a love bunny. You know what I mean? So this guy comes at me like he's going to stab me or whatever with a knife. And I go, come at me, bro. I'm going to hug you. I'm going to hug you, man. Come on. Come at me. And he looked at me like, fool, you crazy. I'm like, crazy in love. Come on, let's get it.
Wow.
You can't stab a person hugging you. It's not the right energy. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's powerful.
That ain't the way it works. So Vaughn is like, yeah, I'm going to throw this guy out. I'm like, don't do so angry stuff. It's okay. It's okay. You know what I mean? It's okay.
Wow.
It's so funny though, but it's the energy. Yeah. You got to create this energy.
Yeah.
And I've saved my life many times by casting love versus casting, this negative energy. You know what I mean? And again, it's the energy. So if you have energy of hate or any of this kind of stuff, you're going to get the same energy back. And what I'm talking about is not secret stuff. This is just normal stuff. This is law of attraction 101 stuff.
Right.
The energy in which you put out is what you receive. So if you put out love, you'll receive love. If you put out hate, you'll get exactly what you're looking for. That you'll get what you look for.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So I've always looked for awards. And the reason why I look for awards, and that's why I got awards and everything, is because I didn't think that anybody would believe that I could do it. See, the Easter egg was so I could prove that I did it. You know what I mean? Right. And so all the awards was so that look, I can do it.
Yeah.
More proof. Yeah, it's proof.
Wow.
But it was, yeah. That's the fun. So post John Maxwell, then I got into internet marketing and started the internet marketing speaking circuit, spoke World Internet Marketing Stage, won the 2011 Internet Marketer of the Year. I know that was 9 years ago. But during this flurry post John Maxwell, I started speaking in a lot of the circuits. I was on JV Alert, NAMS, Matt Basics events. I had many dinners with Russell Brunson, the ClickFunnels guy. Um, literally, he used to joke with me because he's Mormon, and my name was Joseph Edward Smith Jr., and he couldn't believe that Joseph Edward Smith Jr. was sitting beside him drinking a beer. And this was before he was big.
Right.
You know, the guy, ClickFunnels guy. He was like, I can't believe Joseph Edward Smith Jr. is sitting here right next to me drinking a beer. And I'm like, yeah. Anyway, so I know him and his wife. But I spoke in these circuits, and then at Georgia Tech and said, have you heard of Bitcoin? And I'm like, no. Tell me about this. Now, I'm a data center, the Microsoft stuff. And he goes, well, here's a USB. You can make free money with it. Just stick it in your computer, and here's some code that you can figure out. And so I got one of the original USB mining tools to mine my laptop.
Wow.
2013. Or 2012. And literally from there, I took the USB, and all of a sudden, I now had a data center in my basement pulling about 17 kilowatts of power and shutting my entire neighborhood down. Because I had servers stacked up in my basement. I know. And even cops would station outside finally, and they had a heat thing, looking at the heat, thinking that we were growing or whatever. Right. And I took the cop and took him around the basement and showed him. And he's like, oh, my God, what the hell is all this? I'm like, this is computers. He's like, computers for what? I'm like, for the new financial market. He's like, what? So then I moved it.
Like, people were just
So
hear about it. Yeah.
He didn't know what it was. So then I moved it from there to the largest data center in the Bitcoin space in the early on days with a big time internet marketer named John Sugar and Luke Sample. I don't know if you know those names, but I did a big $1 million project with them in 2009 called Epic Traffic Systems that did $1.2 million in our launch together. Mm-hmm. And that was me. I was the social media guru, believe it or not. Keith Baxter was the blog farming guru, and John Sugar was the pay-per-click guru for the Epic Traffic Systems. I've done it all. Anyways, so I did this Bitcoin data center, and then gave my clients all their money back. I made so much money in the Bitcoin that I literally turned back on my clients and gave them all their money back and left the Growing Giants business. Mm-hmm. And said, I'm going to just now go into music. And literally sold all the Bitcoin stuff, took all my winnings in cash, and went to Berklee College of Music and went in their expedited thing and graduated with a 4.0, mm-hmm. perfect score at Berklee College of Music.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Crazy, never been done. In fact, one of my teachers tried to give me a B, but I literally smacked his head and made him give me an A because I was not going to not get a perfect score. In any case,
that's that energy.
Perfect score at Berklee. That's that energy. Perfect score at Berklee College of Music. And then now this is what's going to be funny because of the energy. So I went, and now I'm in the Berklee network, and I wanted to get on a rock project or whatever because I fired all my coaching clients. So I get an audition for Pzzyfoot, this band that now online, if you follow any of my stuff or Instagram, you'll see tons and tons and tons of videos and recordings of that. We recorded an album, did a tour, all of that kind of stuff. But at the tour, when I went there for the audition, I was not the best drummer, not by far. I mean, there were guys there that was just like, oh my God, these guys are insanely good. You know, like Michael Phelps on the drums and shit. And I'm like, oh Lord, I'm not going to make this. Like, oh man, why did I give up everything to go into music? There's no way, you know, like this is insane. Like these guys are just too good. So I go in and I play with them and everything, and they had smiles on their face, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm nowhere near as good as the other guys. And they asked me one question, and they said, tell me why we should choose you. And I'm like, oh shit, you shouldn't have asked me that. You know what I mean? Because the reason why you should choose me is because I can cook, I can massage, I can tell jokes, I can do marketing, I can do graphics, I can do your webpage, I can set up merchant for your store, I can put your band on the map. But guess what? I'm a cool guy. I'm happy-go-lucky. I'm not a prima donna. You can tell me what you want to do, and I'll do it. I'm a team player. That's all I said. And they look at me and they go, hired. They didn't even talk to the other guys.
Yeah.
hired. I'm like, damn, I was speaking their language.
Yeah. The
Last thing they wanted, last
thing.
thing they wanted, yeah, I know. Last thing they wanted was a prima donna drummer who was really, really good, but who was an asshole.
Yeah. They want somebody who can cook, who can give
Uh-huh.
massages, who can do their website, their social media,
Yeah.
and be a team
Yeah.
player.
Exactly. And they hired me. And I swear to God. So I went walking through. This place was called Crush House Media. This is where the interviews took place. And there was like a waiting room. And then they had the room in the back. And everybody sitting in the waiting room listening to everybody because you could hear everybody and every.
Yeah.
And then they hired me. And I come walking through. And I had my stick bag. And they're like, where are you going? I'm like, I got the gig. And these guys were pissed off.
I'm sure that they were.
They were like, what? They're like, what the? What? He's not. They all heard me. They all heard me audition.
Right.
And they're like, what? How did he get this?
Yeah.
No. I'm like, you guys didn't have the right language. You didn't have the right message. And that's why one of my 5 elements that I teach about is message. You got to have the right message.
So
method is just one key. Yeah. Method is my ability to play. But because I had the right message, they said yes. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. I want to dig more into that. Like, tell me about these 10 elements that you work on with people. And what are the elements?
Yeah.
Maybe you can only touch on a few of them, but
Yeah. Let me touch on a few of them.
If you want to think about it for a second.
Yeah.
I just want.
No, I don't need to think about it. No. Yeah, I don't need to think about it. I talk about this stuff all day long.
Okay, I love it.
It's insane. Yeah, it's insane how much I actually talk about it and write about it. We're currently writing a book, not on the 12 elements. We're writing a book called The 12 Tenets of Being. And it goes from everything from being awake, aware, mindful, responsible, loving, as a tenet of being, spiritual, honest. All these different things are associated with the 12 tenets of being. These 5 elements, however, are kind of what we created in something we called Fireheart. And Fireheart was the idea, and again, I have you see the fire tattoo?
Yes, I see it. Yeah.
That's the half of my logo. The other half is a heart, and Fireheart, and that's half of my logo. The heart is on my wife. The heart logo. So if you put our 2 wrists together, if we hold hands, it makes the Fireheart logo.
It's so awesome.
I know, cheesy, right?
It's so great.
It's cheesy.
Anyways, that's what the world needs.
So
it needs cheese.
It needs cheese. So we created this out of cheese. So Fireheart. So we came together from this Fireheart idea, and we thought about what does that mean, kind of, and there's these personal elements that make magic, and there's business because again, she's the psychologist. She's got a doctor's degree in it. I'm the business guru. People call me a business guru, but I'm like the everything. Like, I've done so many different businesses and many online businesses, offline businesses, manufacturing businesses. I've consulted for them all. Like, literally, if you said, hey, Joey, go do a tea shop down the street. Done. Give me the money. We got it. You know what I mean? Like, we can do the marketing. We can do the campaigns. We can do everything. Like, I've been at the level of everything.
Yeah.
So in the elements, there's 5 main things. However, though, no matter what your secret sauce is, I always say that business or life is not complicated. It's just complex. Okay. Meaning, you got to drink water, you got to eat good food, you got to have bowel movements, you got to breathe, you got to, it's not complicated.
But it is complex.
There's like 10 things. It is complex, yeah. If you just do these 10 things, there's 10 things. If you just do these 10 things, I promise it'll all work out, but it just doesn't work out. Because our lives are a little bit more complicated, okay? Our lives the problem. It's the banks, it's the parents, it's the relationships, it's the bosses, it's the clients, it's all the variables. So to deal with those variables, I have 5 elements of person and 5 elements of business. And again, when I come in and consult for business, I use these 5 elements. And then if anybody says, hey, I need you to help me with my life, because again, I've almost died 3 or 4 times. We haven't talked about this. I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2001. And how I fixed multiple sclerosis, by the way, is through drumming. That's how I got my nerves back. I couldn't walk in 2001. Now I'm running up and down hills. So MS conquered that and different things, kind of based on these principles, based on, these different elements of being and figuring out what these elements were. So some of those elements, now we're not going to do the elements of being. I know you're in this big business thing. Talk about message, method, okay, and management. Now I have what I do with clients and what I figured out in the Growing Giants days. I had a business called Growing Giants, and what I did with people was with the people here, because this is really, really helpful, is to figure out what person you are genetically. And I created 4 profile types for people that I work with so that I could make sure I was working with you doing the right thing. So no matter what I worked with you on those 5 elements, I needed to know what you were from a working type. And so I had 4 different ones that I tested for. And that's practitioner, creator, mentor, and researcher. Okay? Mm-hmm. So these different ones, kind of how you figure out. So there's no need for the researcher to be doing blogging. Will drive them crazy. Mm-hmm. A creator trying to do affiliate marketing will go insane, will not be successful. Meaning there's these different things, that these 4 profile types. And so what I used to do when I would speak and give keynote speeches back in the early internet marketing days, I used to give people this tool so they could figure out what to buy. I would say in my keynote, there are going to be great sellers on the stages, and you're going to want to buy their products and not need their product. So figure out who you are first and buy the product that matches you. Yeah. Meaning if it's a product about blogging and you're a creator and you're a mentor, grab it. If there's a course about creating courses and you're a mentor, that's for you. If there's a course about affiliate marketing and you're a mentor, run away. Don't buy it.
Right. Because it's not.
I don't care how good they're selling from stage. It's not going to work because it ain't for you. So mentor, researcher, creator, practitioner. Now, practitioners make great MLM people. Oh my God. You need to be a practitioner to be successful at MLM. Super affiliates, researcher. Practitioner. Creators, great bloggers, great designers, great copywriters, great stuff like that. It's creators. Mm-hmm. Okay. You got to be in a creative role to be a creator, and blogging can help in that. But that's why there's always in our genetics this primary, secondary. So you're a mentor practitioner, a creator practitioner, a creator mentor, meaning you could be a web designer that wants to train people how to web design or mentor people how to do that. Because we have in our genetic code, I studied the genome to do this test, to create this test. You can kind of get a feel for what you are to determine whether you're a practitioner or mentor is this question. If I want the job done, I do it myself, is a practitioner. If I want the job done right, I'll just do it myself. That's a practitioner. Mm-hmm. If I want the job done right, I'll get a team of experts, is a mentor.
Right.
Okay? If I want the job done right, I'll go research some YouTube videos, is a researcher. Okay?
Okay.
If I want the job done right, I'll try to create a solution. That's the creator. Do you see what I mean? So if you ask yourself, if I want the job done right, the way I answer that gives me kind of my clues on what's going to make me the most successful as a being. Meaning, are you operating as a creator, if that's what your being is? Are you operating as a practitioner? See, the Peterson principle is we're always promoted and elevated to our level of incompetence. And the reason being is because practitioners are elevated to managers, meaning they're really good at sales, and then they become sales managers and suck ass because they don't have the mentor genetic capabilities. They're a practitioner. That's why they're really good at sales. So they're always promoted or elevated to management, which they're not genetically apt to be a manager.
Right.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why most people's bosses suck, because bosses are promoted to a boss because they were a good practitioner. not a good mentor or leader or whatever. And that's exactly, just because you're good at a skill doesn't make you a good manager. You got to be genetically good, to be a good manager. That's the mentor skill. Here's how you also know. So if somebody teaches you a magic trick, and rather than performing the trick, you go teach people the magic trick, you're a mentor. Right. If somebody teaches you a magic trick and you want to go just perform the magic trick constantly, you're a practitioner. If somebody gives you a magic trick and you want to go research other magic tricks just like it, you're a researcher. And if somebody gives you a magic trick and you say, I can create a better trick than this, you're a creator.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's how you should, that's what, when I worked with clients before the Bitcoin and then going into the Rockstar days, that's what I did with them. Meaning I would work them towards and hone in on how they can be slippery and get it fast. Because remember, it's about closing the gap. And most people who are trying to be a practitioner, that's a wall they can't get over because that's a genetic hurdle. That's that they're beating against their own self. They're not doing what's easy, they're doing what's hard. And so, and whether, I mean, kind of how you go, well, Joseph, how did you do these things? Well, the biggest thing that I did, I tried to get it. And then another thing, I've been on stage. If you follow my stuff, you'll see that I have comedy skits, meaning like standing on stage doing like Comedy Central like comedy skits. Yeah. I have some of those.
Okay, that's awesome.
Because somebody said I have some great cannabis jokes. Somebody said, "Hey Joe, this is me speaking at an internet marketing event. The guy who owned the Laughing Skull said, dude, you're funny on stage. Come help me with marketing and I will put you with our top comedian and give you coaching." Done. And so I did that. Wow. I did that, which was amazing. And so I got some pretty good jokes on the stage. I
love that.
Which is kind of fun.
So for you, are you like, which one of those 4 archetypes are you? Or like, what's your primary, secondary?
I'm a mentor creator.
Wow. Okay. Got it.
Is what I am. Mm-hmm. I love to create and I love to teach. I love to share. I love to show. But some would say because of kind of my autism, I have a blending of a lot of them because I also love to research and teach. And I love to figure something out. Like it kills me that you had to figure out Open Broadcaster yourself. I wanted to show you so badly. Because that's how I'm wired. No, I know. But that's how I'm wired. Meaning I want to go, let's get on the Zoom. I want to show you. And you're like, no, I want to figure it out myself. But that's how I am. You're wired because you're a practitioner, maybe. Meaning if you're like, no, I want to do it myself. That could be practitioner. Yeah. It's possible. Yeah. So I used to have a test. So my test used to take people through 20 questions, and they would answer these questions, and then give them this complete workup about who you are, how you're wired, genetically, all this kind of stuff. And then it would kind of sell you into a program. And I'm going to be coming in the next month.
I'm excited.
This is going to come back. I'm bringing it back on Higher Hill. I'm getting that back up and running because now I left the rock world, got a divorce, catastrophic divorce, fled Atlanta, now in San Diego, remarried to a beautiful, wonderful doctor who's just helping create these amazing things with me. And so we'll be getting back everything back on track like real soon. So that's why if you go to Higher Hill or Joseph S. Kahn or any of those, you'll see Hello World because I'm just now resurfacing. Now, if you go to Joseph S. Kahn social media sites, you'll see that I've been around for a while. Right. Because I think my Twitter account is like back in the day. I'm one of the only 60,000 people in the world that's followed by Obama. I'm followed by Obama.
Wow.
On Twitter.
That's incredible.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the reason why is because I had a product, the best-selling ClickBank product in 2009 called Twitter Cash Method. That's what it was called.
I see. So you've had this extraordinary journey where it feels like you've done everything. And
Yeah.
and I guess my
Yeah.
question is like, what's next? Like, what is something that you feel like you haven't done yet that you're like aspiring to do?
I already know, and I had it before. What pulled me out to the West Coast was I've got a movie.
Oh my goodness.
I have a movie that's got to come out.
Can you
Yeah,
share any
and the
details
name it.
about the movie, or is it top
Yeah,
secret?
it's about it. No, it's not top secret. It's about a female paladin that uses a sword. And if anybody knows Dungeons and Dragons and stuff, is like probably would be screaming by the fact that I said a female paladin that uses a sword. But she doesn't cut anything with it. That's the problem with paladins. They're not supposed to shed blood because paladins are like church healer kind of
Mm-hmm.
things, like in the Lord of the Rings Secrets. But she uses a sword because she's not like normal paladins, meaning she's like a thief that's been converted, and she uses the butt end of her sword to do things, and the sword end to heal with, like to cauterize or to
Right.
meaning she does use the blade, but only to heal because she's a surgeon.
Mm,
But that's a paladin with a sword, which is different because paladins have bludgeoning weapons. You know what I mean?
sure.
And anyway, so there's this big magical Lord of the Rings style script that I've written that I want to put in the movies that has these 12 elements of being in them, taught through the scenes and scenarios.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
incredible,
so
dude.
that's the big thing. Yeah, that's the thing that I'm working towards right now.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I know we were gonna end at one.
I don't want to give the name of it
That's fine.
away.
Keep it
It's got
keep
a
it
really cool
hidden.
name. I don't want to
Keep
give the
it
name,
hidden.
but I can tell you this. So the elements, we do have a video game companion. Now the name of the movie is not the name of what I'm going to say, but we have a business and a video game companion called Fireheart.
Okay.
And the companion video game for iPhone, it's going to be a big hit, is this character running around collecting hearts and has to avoid black hearts. And if she gets and collects team members, because this character in the movie has a team that represents different archetypes and different things. And in the game, she collects team members, which gives more capabilities to fire upon the enemy as it jumps and goes around different things on the
Mm-hmm.
game. If she collects hearts to get more team members, but if she accidentally hits a black heart, she kills everybody on her team.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because the character kind of has this split personality that, if triggered psychologically, has a PTSD
Okay.
of abuse in her past. Do you know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So in the game, if she hits a black heart, she'll kill everybody on her team and has to start back over building the team members again, in the game. So it's kind of fun. Um, so yeah, so that's where I'm heading next.
Oh my goodness. Well,
Is
that
movies and games.
sounds incredible. Um,
But before I get there, what I need to get there is I want to help a bunch of people and work with them and help them with their crazy dreams and close the gaps on their dreams and stuff. So that's why Higher Hill is going to come in place to help do that while I build these other things. So if anybody wants to follow me there, I think you gave information about that. All of that's going to be coming online within the next month.
awesome. Yes.
Yeah.
Is
So we're hitting it early with you.
I love it. I'm glad.
You-
I'm glad to be a part of it. Is there anything else
yeah.
that you'd like to share that we haven't talked about, that we didn't touch on before we kind of call this to a close?
Um, kind of the what got me out here. So anybody, I was married for 24 years, but kind of not in a good situation. I had a very narcissist, actually clinically diagnosed grandfather narcissist, who was diagnosed by the VA hospital and said, "Oh, you know that crazy shit you guys have been going through all your life? Well, it's clinical, so here's there's nothing you can do about it." Well, anyways, because of that, since he was this Southern Baptist evangelical, I stayed in a bad marriage for a long time because of the idea that you couldn't get a divorce. Meaning it was this religious thing. He was a Southern Baptist preacher and kind of had this thing. So it was like, well, got to work it out, got to work it out, got to work it out. Well, finally, I'm like, this something happened, and so we broke up, and so I'm like, and I came out to here because I met my current spouse in a personal development group on Facebook, which is funny. So I'm in this Facebook group, personal development group, and it's okay because I like the guy. I don't know if you know, his name's Jesse Elder. He's a personal development guy. Yeah, he has groups like wealth frequency stuff that I was kind of in, and so we started chatting and Zooming, and she's like, well, I'm getting a divorce too, so come over to California. So I came out to California, and we literally started building and writing and going through leadership and marketing and business building and all the psychology. I started picking apart all of the psychology knowledge that she had as a PsyD. She's a PsyD, which is equivalent of a PhD in clinical psychology. How can I make people successful and figure out these psychological stuff? So we created something called the LDP, or this 4-step way of getting over any bad habits that you may have. So if you have a bad habit, we have a tool that we created using kind of our combined knowledge that helps you reprogram bad habits and completely eliminate them in your life. That's one of the things. So we've been working on stuff like that for the last year, and we tried to launch 3 or 4 businesses that just couldn't get off the ground because the society wasn't right for it. You know what I mean? We launched this life detox thing, and everybody's like, I don't want a life detox. But imagine everybody now wants to do it. You know, post pandemic, it's like, but we were a little ahead of the curve.
Right.
So we've been creating a lot of products that like self-sabotage, how to eliminate self-sabotage, how to detox your life completely from your food to your products to what you wear, you know, the whole 9. Like literally we have products like that. We have a lot of different things that we're going to be launching through our new Higher Hill website and brand that, again, is to help people live better lives and to get and close the gaps, go to the best places they want to go and get there quicker. And let me show and use kind of some tools that I've used. I have Asperger's. That's kind of an autism. I don't know if some people know a little bit about that, but I've learned a lot of things that can apply to normal thinking that can help regular people go super fast that may not have been able to figure it out otherwise. I mean, I have some tricks and things that work for everybody, not just for me, to get shit done fast. I mean, you want an award, you want a record contract, you want any of that shit, talk to me. I know how to get it.
I love that.
And it's just vibrating a new energy. Got to help you with that energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, Joseph, of that is
there you go.
Freaking incredible. And I just want to appreciate you again and love up on you for being on here. This was awesome. I loved everything that you shared. And if anyone out there that's watching or watching the replay wants to connect, it's Joseph S. Kahn everywhere on social media. You can also go to higherhill.com. Is that true? Or we'll just keep it Joseph S. Kahn.
It's higherhill.com. If they go to there right now after watching this, it may or may not say hello world. So
see, that's it. We're taking action.
I'm pretty fast though. I'm pretty damn fast. By the time we close on this, I'm gonna put this website up. No, I'm kidding. I'm pretty fast.
Quantum speed right there. That's closing the gap.
It is. It is. That's closing the gap. By the time this gets posted, I'm gonna shoom.
Yeah, that's it.
I already have all the logos and stuff created. It's not like I don't have the content. I already have all that.
Yeah, perfect. Well, I'm gonna end the live here. Turn on my mic.